Welcome to Flying Tiles. Before we get into it, we will be looking at block tiles, and I wanted to give the beginners a helpful hint to help decrease the overwhelm. I wanted to go over block tiles and what they are in the card. So when you have two tiles that are the same, that's a pair. Three tiles that are the same, that's a pung, and you can use a joker in the pung. When you have four tiles that are the same, that's a Kong, and you can use a joker in a Kong. Five tiles that are the same, that's a quint, and you can use a joker in the quint. When you have two tiles that are different, that's single tiles. Like we have one on this card, the 1 and the 0 in the odds category. And if you have three tiles that are different numbers, same suit, that's called a chow, and they're still considered single tiles. If you have four tiles that are different, like news or 2025, those are still considered single tiles. So in these three, the chow, and then these four that are different, you cannot use jokers in these. So the only time you can use jokers is in your pung, your Kong, and your quint. I wanted to give you guys a helpful hint, and that is showing you these highlighter strips. You can get these highlighter strips on Amazon. They're not that expensive. And you just peel them off and you can highlight any hand. They're perfect size for the lines. And if you're a beginner, I suggest maybe highlighting all the closed hands. And the reason for that is oftentimes beginners could be playing a closed hand, forget that it's a closed hand. They claim a discard, they expose a pung or a Kong, forgetting that it's a closed hand. You cannot do that in a closed hand. Then they get Mahjong, and it is an invalid hand because it's closed. So highlighting closed hands can be very helpful. People also ask, well, wouldn't your other opponents know what hand you're playing? And what I suggest is maybe using different colors for different, like maybe do your closed hands in green and maybe do your favorite hands in a yellow or something. If you have multiple hands highlighted, not all of them, then that can help you go to that hand or that category, and nobody's going to know what hand you're playing. The caveat is it's important to wean yourself off using these. So don't get too dependent on these, but they can be very helpful at the very beginning. Today we're going to simplify the National Mahjong League card. We're not going to memorize it. We're not going to dissect every hand. Just understand how it works. We're going to be going from a macro view down into a micro view. So we're going to get the big picture first, and then we're going to start zooming in. On the back of each card, even the smaller cards, you have all the not all the directions, but you have directions and you have a lot of information. I've played with some newcomers that have been playing for a few months, and they didn't even know that this information was here. So I want to be sure that you guys know that it's here. The next part to remember is be sure that you read what's on the card. Up here, it gives you important information. Note, white dragon is used as 0. It may be used with any suit. The zeros are only used, or white dragons are only used as a 0 when it's indicated on the card. You cannot put the white dragons as a 0 if you want to use it in consecutive runs, such as 0, 1, 2, 3. You cannot do that. The white dragon, when it's used as a 0, can only be used when a 0 is indicated. So if it needs a 0, that can only be a white dragon, no other dragon. This is the first panel. The first category is the year. This changes every year, obviously, 2025. And then next on this card, or this year's card, is evens, 2, 4, 6, 8. And then we have any like numbers. And the middle panel, we have quints. We have consecutive runs. We have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, which is also known as odds. This is the last panel. We have our wins and dragons section here. And then we have our 3, 6, 9 section here. And then we have our singles and pairs section here. And those are all the categories this year on the card. Within the category, some are fixed and some are flexible. So the fixed categories where you cannot change what's written here would be the 2025 or your year category. That cannot be changed. You do have to read your parentheses and follow those. The 2468, that is also fixed. You have to do 2468 in the way that they're telling you here. The only time that it might be any different is such as this line here. So like pungs, any even number. So these two pungs can be 2, 4, 6, or 8. But those are the only numbers you can use. And that's the only flexibility that you really have. Or else maybe the suits that you use. Same here. So any 3 suits, like pungs, even numbers, these can be 2, 4, 6, 8. In the any like numbers, this is very flexible. So any like numbers means that these are all the same numbers. So these are all, let's say, 4s, 4, 4. You just have to have 3 suits of 4s, number 4. This is, again, 3 suits. These all have to be 4. And in the way that it's indicating here, I have each separate video. I have a video on each separate category. So the quint section and the consecutive run section, these are very flexible. This is a great beginner's area, the consecutive run, because there's just so much flexibility. The only thing here that's not flexible is this top hand. You have to use 1 through 5, or you have to use 5 through 9. Everything else is flexible to a certain extent. And again, I have a video on consecutive runs. This is a flexible section. And the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or the odd section, this is not flexible. You need to use the numbers that they have laid out here. You have to use 1 suit, 1 through 9 like this in these blocks, or you can use 3 suits laid out like this. And so this is fixed. Your hand needs to match what is written on here. Winds and dragons is fairly fixed because you have to use the winds as indicated. You can't mix them up. I just want to say one more thing. I'm going to say this a million times. So this is a chow. 1, 2, 3 is a chow. Those are single tiles. This dragon does not, this suit you have for these dragons do not have to match that. They don't have to match. They only had 3 colors of ink to use. So that's what they did, is they used green, red, and blue. And it says here, any 3 consecutive numbers in any 1 suit, which would be your chow, and then any 3 dragons. So they're trying to tell you here that these dragons can be any suit in any order. This Kong does not have to match that 1, 2, 3. 3, 6, 9, again, that's very fixed. Singles and pairs, again, that's very fixed. The other important information about this card is be sure to read these parentheses. A lot of people kind of forget about them. They get pushed in the background, but if they're not read and understood, you can often have a hand that you think you have Mahjong, but it's actually invalid or a dead hand. So any like even numbers here in 3 suits. Any like odd numbers here in 3 suits. Just always read your parentheses and it'll give you directions. So the parentheses in connection with the color and layout will give you good information. And sometimes it can be difficult because they only have 1 line to write the information on. So be sure you read your parentheses and count your tiles. So the next part is looking at how the hands are laid out in block tiles. If you notice here in this hand, we have a pung, a kong, a pung, and a kong. 1 suit. This one we have a pung and a kong and a pung and a kong in 2 suits, any 4 consecutive numbers. And this is what it looks like laid out. I have this in my category tiles. You'll see it in every category tile so you can see what the blocks look like. Recognizing the patterns helps decrease overwhelm. Like if I'm doing that 2, let's say I'm doing 3, 4, 5, 6, I just keep in my mind pung, kong, pung, kong. Okay, I've got a pung of 3, I need a kong of this, I need a pung of this and a kong of that. It really helps a lot. And this is a common pattern. So this is another common pattern through the years since the very beginning. And it is pair, pung, kong, pung, pair. So it goes up and down. And so this is what that pattern looks like. And you'll see it across the years and throughout the card. You have your pair, your pung, your kong, your pung, and your pair. And this is for a 3-suited hand. And the only place you can use your jokers is in the pungs or the kongs. No joker in the pair, no joker in the pair. So these are your 3 blocks that you can use your jokers. You'll also see these tiles on the card and news all together, 2025 all together, and then your chows, 2, 3, 4. Your chows have to be in the same suit, and ascending order of 3. So these are all considered single tiles. You cannot have a joker in here. So even though they're like this on the card, they're considered single because they don't have any repeating numbers or wins. So no jokers in these. So let's move on to the values over here. The values of the hand are given along the right side. X means it's exposed, and that's the value 40. X exposed, value 25. This one's exposed, the value's 30. This one is closed, and the value's 30. So when you have an exposed hand, what that means is that if there's a discard that will complete a pung, kong, or quint, you can claim that discard and put it on top of your rack. If it's a closed hand, you cannot claim a discard and expose a tile. So closed basically means that you have to keep all your tiles, you play all your tiles in the slope part of your rack, and the only time you can claim a discard is for Mahjong. If it's an X that's exposed, you can claim a discard and put an exposed block tile on your rack. And if it's C, it is closed and you cannot do that. Thank you so much for stopping by Flying Tiles. I really appreciate it. Again, if you have any questions, please put them down in the comment section and I will answer them as soon as I see them. So that was a quick overview of the card, and I have another video that is actually more in depth than what I just went through. But I thought it would be nice to have a shorter video. Also, as I'm filming more and getting to understand how to do videos, I'm hoping my quality of videos are increasing for the better for you guys. So thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video.